there's a lot of mental health issues that you've battled with your whole life. I mean, going back to childhood,
Yeah.
but they really came to a head. Was it 2018?
2015 through 2017 and 10 months. So like over 2.5 years of just my wife described my sort of catatonic repose on the couch or in bed. She said afterwards, and I'm glad she didn't say it while it was happening, she said, I thought you were dying. I thought you were dying.
Wow.
And that was, but she wasn't my wife at the time, which I find very incredibly moving to me, is the fact that she did this for somebody, like dedicated much of her life to taking care of a guy she had only been dating for 6 months when this came across me. And I would say, why would you do that? And she said, it was a great 6 months.
You had a great 6 months. Yeah. And then she thought, you were dying.
The one thing I will say that I was very good about from the time I was in after college, because I didn't tell my college girlfriend that I had been to therapy or that I had depression until our senior year. But every time after that I had a relationship, I would say, you have to know that I'm susceptible to this illness, and it can get pretty dark. And I just want you to go in with both eyes opening. And without exception, the women were very understanding, and in some cases they understood because of either their personal relationship to depression or to somebody that they had in their life. Yeah.
How does this depression manifest itself for you?
That's a great question. A lot of it was...
Do you feel a mood disorder? Does something shift in your brain chemistry? Is it triggered by an external event? And then how does your behavior change as you drift into it?
It's not always been triggered by an external event. Sometimes it was just every winter, right about the time we would set the clocks back, I would feel lousy until March throughout my schooling, and then in March I would feel better, and I realized that there was a seasonal component to it.
Yeah.
But that wasn't all of it. The main thing.
Were you ever depressed in the summer?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when I knew this one was different from all the other episodes. This one that started in 2015.
So the other ones were kind of more seasonal, but then all of a sudden I got year round.
Yeah. Then on my birthday, I was crying on my birthday, which never happened. I take my birthday a little bit more seriously than most people. I'm not a person who celebrates their birthday month or everything like that, but I always noticed over the years on my birthday, I would be completely carefree because nobody could really ask me to do anything too arduous on my birthday or expect anything from me on my birthday. And then this one year, I'm just crying on my birthday, and which is in July 17th. And so, yeah, it was seasonal, but also all the symptoms would be seasonal, which included this negative self-talk and the suicidal ideation and the feelings of anxiety mixing with worthlessness. But then the other thing that you don't understand about depression until you've gone through an episode is that you really have no energy to do things that used to be so easy. So that walking my dogs around the block was this task that felt Herculean. And
Wow.
and I mean in the mythological sense, in that I had to slay dragons. I had to fight a different mythological beasts.
Yeah.
It felt like that, just to walk my dogs around a New York City block, and I would be wiped out. And my wife, who is 5'10", I'm 6'6", I could not keep up with her when we were walking, and she wasn't speed walking, but I just was we would walk somewhere and I just could not keep up with her. And everything involved in doing my shows was such an arduous, just horrible idea. And then so I would show up to shows unshowered, unshaved, in the clothes I'd been wearing all day, just so I could be on a little bit late, like 5 minutes late for my shows, and always behind, and always feeling like I needed a nap, and then taking a nap and being even more tired and more depressed. So those are a lot of the manifestations. But there's also this thing where you become so jealous, I would say, of you compare yourself to other people, and you think, oh, if I had their life, if I had their career and all these things, and these feelings that I don't have when I'm in my right mind. I've always been very supportive of other people and other comedians, and there are always people who irritate you in show business, but for the most part, I always looked at people who were succeeding as opening up more and more doors for other comedians. That the more popular a comedian got, the more popular comedy got, and it was just a healthy approach to this thing, rather than becoming rivals with somebody. You should try to spread the word about this really funny person. Have you ever seen Chris Fleming? I was in the depths of depression in like 2010 and had just gotten out of a relationship. And I saw this comedian who made me want to quit. He was so good and had only been doing it for a couple of years. And I recognized it as my depressive thinking, that I don't have to compare myself. And I said, no, why don't you just tell everybody you know how good this guy is and take him on the road? And so we've become dear friends. But it was having to fight this attitude that why should I even bother because somebody does it so well. That is a very depressive thought. And so I guess it was cognitive, but it was also physical, in that I was so tired so much, and just keeping my head above water was, whenever I was feeling better, I had to make up for all the time that I had lost with my comedy and get back out there. It was just...
Yeah.
The Soul Boom Podcast. Subscribe now on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever else you get your stupid podcasts.